In this video, I want to specifically address an objection that when you talk about this concept of one person, one vote, many people, many Americans will bring up the concept of the Senate and say, well, how can you argue about one person, one vote in the House of Representatives when we have significant inequity in the Senate, where we have 2 senators from a state like Wyoming that has 500,000 people, but you've got the same 2 senators from a state like California that has a population of 36, 37 million people. So how can you, with a straight face, argue about one person, one vote when you've got such inequity in terms of voting power in the Senate? You know what? That's a fair question. But I think the question, frankly, is illustrative of somebody who's very ignorant about their Constitution and the Constitutional Convention and the Great Compromise. What was the Great Compromise? It was to say that the Senate represented the states and the United States House represented the people. In fact, there was a person at the Constitutional Convention who did a brilliant job summarizing exactly what I just said. The Great Compromise was aptly summed up by a delegate from Connecticut, and this person's name was William Samuel Johnson. And he simply said, after all of this debate about the Great Compromise, said, in one branch, the people ought to be represented, and in the other, the states. Period. So the Senate represents the states. Now, one of the reasons why I think we've lost sight of that is that the 17th Amendment, back almost 100 years ago, we abandoned the notion of electing senators through the state legislature, and they were directly elected by the people. Now, whether you're for or against the 17th Amendment doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that the Senate still represents the states, but the House of Representatives represents the people. And if it's representing the people, it ought to be one person, one vote. You could say the Senate is one state, one vote, although there's 2 senators, so it's one state, 2 votes, and in the House, it's one person, one vote as it relates to the representation and the representative in Congress. So it's important when people go down the path of trying to say that the Senate already, in effect, capitulates the point and say we don't have one person, one vote anymore. We need to keep in mind what is the purpose of the House and what is the purpose of the Senate. So if you want to learn more, please visit our website at apportionment.us.